Next News at 10 starts now.
Good evening, I'm Lauren Culber.
And I'm Nicholas Paul, and thank you for watching KX News. Recently, JPay, a company that works with the North Dakota Department of Corrections to provide communication services for inmates, reported that the recidivism or reoffense rate at state prisons has fallen almost 10%, about cut in half from 2015 to 2018.
But as Renee Cooper reports in tonight's top story, the DOCR says while the numbers are encouraging, they are also a little misleading.
Recidivism, to me, it's almost like this. It's a false report card, but it is our report card, right? So the prisons get rated on whether or not we do a good job of people return.
For the average North Dakotan, fewer reoffenders means less crime, fewer victims, and less money being funneled into corrections. The problem with stats released by JPay, according to Colby Braun, is that they only account for 1 year after a group of inmates was released in 2015 and again in 2018.
People who were released in 2015, it looks at how they did in 2016. How many people came back in 2016? If you look at 2018, it's a whole different group of people that were released in 2018. How did they do? How many people came back in 2019?
Braun says in a perfect world, the best accepted measure of reoffense is tracking if someone returns to prison anytime in a full 3 years after release.
Take a look at the DOCR's data by comparison. In 2015, 39.5% of inmates released returned somewhere between 1 and 3 years. Now skip to 2017, and the DOCR has the percentage of inmates that returned after just the first 2 years so far. That was 36.7%. And in 2018, the percentage for a return is after 1 year because the data for 2020 isn't there yet. That number is right on par with JPay's percentage at 12.9. However, like Braun said, 1 year just isn't a long enough period of time to accurately measure recidivism, as you can see by the stark difference between the 2-year gap after 2017 and just 1 in the year of 2018.
All of a sudden, 2018 kind of was highlighted as this is way different than what we've seen in the past in the first year of a release. And that's where this, and that's where I don't want to mislead it, because we could all of a sudden see that same group of people have a really bad second year. It's exciting, but it's certainly not something we would say that we've got the magic potion.
JPay did use DOCR data. Braun says the company reached out asking for it, but it's not something they would have typically released at this stage. I took a phone call with a state pen inmate who's 17 years into a 30-year sentence. He's very familiar with reoffenses.
Honestly, I try not to pay attention because I see so many guys so often and so frequently.
Like seeing people coming in and out of the prison?
Yeah, you see it quite a bit.
Zach Schmidkoons assured me he will not fall into the recidivism statistics.
There's nothing that I don't know how to word it. When you've done this amount of time, that you view everything differently, I suppose you could say.
Reporting for KX News in Bismarck, Renee Cooper.
KX News obtained the data from the DOCR going back to 2004. The worst year was 2014, when the reoffense rate for the group of inmates released then was close to 46%. The best year was 2008, where the reoffense data down the road was 35%.
Some new developments from your local election headquarters tonight.